Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Heart Healthy Cooking, Full Flavor and Less Guilt, cooking demonstration with Eric Theiss, celebrity chef and author. This program is part of our activities for American Heart Month. If you are attending this presentation live, please be sure to type your email address into the chat box to ensure that we email you the recipes as well as some other heart-healthy information following Eric's presentation this evening. It's my great pleasure to introduce Eric Theiss. Eric was born and raised in New Jersey. His culinary interests started as a child when his Italian mother would encourage him to cook and investigate food and fine dining. In his early 20s, Eric worked long nights at Culinary Renaissance, where he trained under acclaimed chef Frank Falsinelli. In 1997, Eric opened his own fine dining restaurant and bar in Westchester called Meritage, which earned rave reviews from prominent Philadelphia food critics. Eric's conversations with his restaurant guests inspired his pursuit of kitchen product innovations focused on demystifying cooking at home, which helped him quickly become one of the lead cooking equipment gurus in the industry. For the past 15 years, Eric has showcased his own collections and has curated collections of kitchen equipment and cookbooks on shopping networks, national morning shows, infomercials, broadcast and cable TV, and live streaming platforms. Eric's love for cooking, teaching, and culinary inventing is as approachable as his energetic personality. His straightforward, no-nonsense approach to cooking has helped millions of people succeed in the kitchen with fresh food ideas that range from everyday meals to comfort food creations and special occasion masterpieces. Eric has sold nearly 1 million cookbooks, including many air-frying recipes. When Eric's not in a kitchen or TV studio, he's at home in Pennsylvania with his family. His brilliant wife, Jessica, and their teenage sons, Cameron and Maxwell, often make cameo appearances with Eric on Facebook Live and IGTV. Family cats Popo, Whitman, and Ginger get the benefit of living in a home filled with love and really good food. For our live participants today, please enter any questions you have into the chat box, and we'll be feeding them to Eric throughout his presentation this evening. So thank you so much, Eric, for sharing your time and expertise with us this evening, and I'll hand things off to you.
Wow, I mean, thank you for that big lead up. Wow.
My pleasure.
And listen, thank you so much. And thanks to my friends at Chester County Hospital for asking me to do this. This is so much fun. You know, I love talking about food. I love talking about air frying because air frying helps you sort of make things that are healthy without feeling healthy. So you get to eat a little bit more without the guilt. That's how I like to say it. So you don't want to lose any flavor. You don't want to have guilt. So air frying is going to help you do that. I've been air frying for years. We're going to talk a little bit about air frying, but it's not all about air frying. Tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about heart healthy eating. I know it almost sounds like, no, we want to eat something. We don't want to eat heart. Yes, you do. Because when you eat heart healthy the right way, you're eating the colors of the world, right? And that's the Mediterranean diet. The Mediterranean diet, which is endorsed by our good friends and our heart healthy dietitians at Chester County Hospital. What they did is they take literally, look at this, Jess, the colors of the world and the earth, and these are what you're going to eat. So don't think that heart healthy means that you're not going to have flavor. So it's not just the people at Chester County Hospital that think the Mediterranean diet's the way to go for heart health. US News and World Reports actually ranked the Mediterranean diet #1 out of 40 diets that are in the current media right now. So if you eat the Mediterranean diet, and we're going to talk about it tonight, it's a lot of fun. It has great food, but you know what? You're going to get like things it may do, right? It may reduce your risk of heart disease. It may reduce your risk of stroke in women. The Mediterranean diet may prevent cognitive decline and Alzheimer's disease. The Mediterranean diet may help with weight loss and maintenance, even things like rheumatoid arthritis. You know, foods are going to help you protect against cancer. Some foods in the Mediterranean diet may even ease depression. So we're not going to get too much into that because listen, I'm your chef, I'm not your doctor, but I wanted to get a lot of stuff out there about the Mediterranean diet because it's really, really great. And what I like to think about dieting is you're not going to think about dieting. It's just a different way to eat, that's all. That's why people like dieting like this, because you're not stuck to a calorie calculator and a fat calculator. It's not all these calculators. If you just eat some simple steps, you're going to see that heart healthy is delicious and flavorful. All right, So enough of that. Let's get into a little bit of cooking because that's what I like to do best. And what I'm psyched about is I get to cook for you, and then tonight I get to eat it. So we're gonna have a little fun. The first thing that we're gonna do is talk about the menu. We're gonna make some beautiful heart-healthy salmon. Now, if you don't like salmon, you guys, this recipe works great with chicken breast. Skinless, boneless chicken breast, it's gonna work just as well. So you can go either way, no problem. We're gonna do a rub. We're gonna make a beautiful salsa that's gonna go along with it. Now, as we move along, I wanna make sure that you guys understand the simple principles are eating things that are not processed, eating things that are literally right from the earth, right? It's pretty simple. So if you stop with all the sugars and the carbohydrates and breads and things like that that are processed, I'm telling you, you're gonna feel better, you're gonna feel lighter, you're gonna feel satiated, and we're gonna get there right now. So let's start with the rub for the salmon. Now, when I make rubs for fish, what I like to do is I like to turn it into a paste. And when you're air frying, and these recipes will work in the oven as well, don't worry about it. I want to talk about flavor. Now, this is flavor without salt, and it's going to be flavor without oil. We don't need oil, especially for air frying. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with some cumin, some coriander, some smoked paprika, some lemon peel, some black pepper, thyme, onion powder, and garlic powder. Those are key ingredients packed with flavor, and spices are free. And in a lot of cases, spices have a lot of health benefits. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take all those spices and I'm pouring in my bowl. I mean, look at the colors right there, makes you like smile, right? Then in order to get the salmon to look beautiful after we cook it, I'm actually gonna add some Greek yogurt that is non-fat or low fat. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna mix that up, and you're gonna see it's gonna turn into sort of like a paste. And it's just easier, and you can do this with your steaks too, you guys. And when I make a rub, and I have lots of rubs posted on my website and in my cookbooks, you can use them for anything, for chicken, for lean pork, anything you want. It's just an easier way to flavor your food. Now I'm just gonna add a little bit of water to this. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna paint it on our salmon. Look at that beautiful color of all those spices. Cumin, coriander, paprika. Those three are some of my favorite spices ever. I use them a lot. They're full of flavor. If you don't like a smoky flavor, use sweet paprika. So there's a lot of different ways you can go with that. So just that quick, we're gonna take this and we're gonna rub our salmon with all that beautiful spice. Now the yogurt in there is gonna give a great flavor to the salmon. Now, there's so many different kinds of salmons, you guys, and I'm telling you, just buy whatever salmon you can afford, because there's features and benefits to all the salmons that are out there. There's the wild caught salmons, there's the sockeye salmons. Some have a higher fat content, some have a lower fat content, some are more dense, some are more fishy. You know what? You get the salmon that you love, you get the salmon you can afford, and that salmon's going to be great no matter which one you get. So I have two different salmons here tonight. Chad, do we have a question?
Yes, so I had a question that come in that someone asked, will this rub work on a fish other than salmon?
I'm telling you guys, this rub is so diverse. You can use it on trout. You could use it on flounder. It's flavor packed, but it doesn't overpower the fish. So salmon has a lot of flavor on its own, right? But it works great with chicken. It's going to work great with like a tilapia. It'll be great with a catfish. I'm telling you, there's really no fish it won't work with. And again, the flavors that we put in here are flavors that work with almost any protein. So that's why I like this rub. It's a very multi-purpose rub. And just a quick note about rubs. When you see all the ingredients that go into that rub, you might say, oh, that's a lot, right? But if you make it's a quarter teaspoon of everything. I make it easy, right? But do a tablespoon of everything. And then keep it on the side. And then put it in a little baggie and write on it what it was, your fish rub. And then you'll always have it. And you just take a little bit out, you add a little bit of yogurt, a little bit of water, and then you can paint it on any protein. And look how beautiful that looks. So what we're gonna do is I would put this aside now for about 15 minutes, and then I would throw it in my air fryer. So with the magic of live Zoom, I'm just gonna pop this over here. Pretend I put that into the air fryer. We're gonna start cooking that. Now, what we're gonna do next is we're gonna make a delicious salsa. So what's so great about salsa? Okay, first of all, it's gonna hold up to any protein. Second of all, we wanna think about things when we're cooking. Like I said, the flavors of the earth. But when you think about the flavors of the earth, what you wanna say is salty, sweet, and sour. Now, if we're going hardcore heart health, right, we wanna watch the sodium levels, but that doesn't mean we can't have a little bit of sodium. But in here, I'm not adding any salt at all to anything, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna extract the salt from things that already have some salt in them. In this case, Kalamata olives. Our olives are they're gonna give us the salt that we need to add to our salsa. So we have a little bit of salty, we have a little bit of sweet and sour with our pomegranates. The same thing with the tomatoes. We're gonna add a little heat right here with some jalapeno peppers. And then we're gonna give it a flavor punch with parsley and mint. And then we're gonna put some unsalted pistachios in there for a little crunch. So when you're cooking, you guys, my wife always likes to say, I don't use recipes, but once you cook and you understand the power of salty, sweet, sour, and texture, then you say, oh, I can do that. I know it's salty, I know it's sweet, I know it has texture, and then you put it all together, and that's what we're gonna do here. So what's more flavorful than some onions? We have some chopped onions and jalapeno peppers. Guys, those are practically free. I don't care what diet or what health plan you're on. Then superfood. Everybody knows, you've been hearing superfood. There's a reason we call it superfood. They're with nutrients, right? Now this pomegranate, if you guys aren't familiar with pomegranate, they're delicious. And you know what's cool? Now it's a supermarket, you can get them. You don't have to cut the pomegranate. First, you'll save a little money if you buy a pomegranate and do it. But you can get these at the supermarket now in little cups. That's all you need. And they're so packed with flavor and they're so good for you. I'm telling you, once you start eating them, you'll get addicted. Now, like I said, we're gonna add some Kalamata olives. You can add any olive that you like. Now, if you don't like olives, guys, it's okay. Add a pinch of salt. A pinch of salt is okay. You're gonna be okay. Salt is not that bad if you keep it in the levels that you need it. So now we're gonna add some tomatoes. Again, I use these beautiful colored tomatoes because again, we wanna eat with our eyes. And you guys know when you go to a restaurant or you're watching Food Network or something like that, and a chef prepares something with all these beautiful colors, it just like kind of tugs at your stomach strings. Forget about your heartstrings right now, because your heartstrings are gonna be fine because we're eating heart healthy. I'm talking about your stomach strings right now. Then, like I said, we're gonna pound it with flavor because now we're gonna add mint and parsley. These two flavors in a salsa, I'm telling you guys, it's just like, you're gonna literally feel like you just flew to the Mediterranean and you have some crazy chef making you something right on the street in Greece or something. So now we're gonna add some of these. If you don't like pistachios, almonds are great, cashews are great. It's so easy to find nuts that are unsalted. And I cut down on my salt big time a long time ago. And once you get used to not eating a lot of salt, you get used to it. And even now you can get nuts that have like low salt. So maybe start with the low salt and then kind of work your way to the no salt. What I did is I started adding in no salt nuts with my low salt nuts. And then I sort of weeded that out. And I'm telling you now, I don't even use it. But we're not done yet because now, of course, we're going to add just a little bit of olive oil and lime juice. Now, olive oil, of course, is a healthy oil. They call it a healthy fat. So you can add a little bit of that. We don't want to go too crazy with it. I only added a little tablespoon, and that lemon juice is going to literally bring this salsa together. It's going to get all of those ingredients just dripping with flavor. Now, if you noticed, we spice rubbed, we did our little paste, we painted our salmon or our chicken, whichever you're going to do. And then while that was marinating, I started making my salsa. Now the salsa, what we want it to sit for about 10 or 15 minutes. You want all those flavors to just soak into each other. And I'm telling you, even the next day, you put this on scrambled eggs, or if you put it on sunny side eggs, it'll make your eyes water. It's such a good fresh salsa. So if you keep something like this in the fridge, you'll use it a lot. And what I like to tell people is don't be afraid to make a little extra, because in fact, it saves you money. Because, you buy one onion, you buy one jalapeno, maybe just make a little bit more, put it in the fridge. It's going to last for days. And then listen, you might have some chicken, or you might have, something that you feel like putting it on. It's just a great condiment. And again, salty, sweet, sour, and the nuts are texture. And that is going to bring it home, you guys. I like to say it's called like pounded with flavor, and a little bit of heat from the jalapenos. And listen, everything in that recipe, if you don't like heat, don't put the jalapenos in, put bell peppers in. If you don't like pistachios, use cashews. You can flip it around. If you guys have any questions on the chat about substitutions, please feel free to ask chat or whoever is taking those questions right now. I'd be happy to give you alternatives, because there's nothing wrong with changing a recipe. Recipe is just sort of like a palette, right? It's just sort of like instructions that can be changed. And as long as you kind of keep the components the same, switching out a protein for a protein, switching out something sweet for something sweet, something salty for something salty, everything will work salty, sweet, sour, and texture. And that's what the Mediterranean diet is. It's sort of like a diet that's a tale as old as time, right? It's been around forever. They've been eating this way in certain parts of the world. This is just their normal way of eating. Back in the day, I grew up Italian and German, and eating was more like a sport. So, your grandmother, they wanted you to eat, and they would get like mad if you didn't eat enough. So my grandmother, my Italian grandmother, she used to make roast beef, literally roast beef with potatoes and everything. I mean, gravy, vegetables. That was the first course. And then you would have like a lasagna or ravioli or whatever the heck she was making. That was the main course. And if you didn't eat, you're like, what's the matter? And it was kind of funny, but as you get a little older, maybe you go to work and you're not as active, you're hitting your 20s, you're working now, doing all those other things, and start to get bigger. So I discovered a different way of eating. That wasn't the Mediterranean diet, but back in the 80s, like everything sort of like led us to this moment of heart health, right? From the Atkins to the low carb, the 80s with the no fat. It was sort of like all these extremes, and they worked to a degree, right? And then all of a sudden you started seeing like the South Beach diet and the low glycemic diet, and everything sort of led us back to the beginning, which is the Mediterranean diet, which has been around forever, you guys. And there's so much information out there. That's what I love about it, because you're never going to be left hanging. Like it's going to be great. Okay.
Eric,
So,
that
I'm gonna
salsa
stop
really looks
talking.
amazing. We've had a couple questions come in. One person wanted to know, is dried mint, can you use dried mint in that as well as fresh mint? Will that work?
Oh yeah, definitely. Listen, if you can't get fresh, it's fine to use dry. It's always good if you can at least get one of them fresh. So it gives it a little bit better mouthfeel, but you can absolutely use dry for everything. Just tamp down the dry a little bit. With the fresh, you want to, kind of keep it abundant, but with the dry, it's a little more powerful. That's all.
And then the
Any
other
other
question
questions?
was about the rub. Can you talk a little bit about, particularly working with an air fryer, I think, but I don't know if you can cook fish frozen, but can you apply that rub on frozen fish, or should you wait for the fish to thaw before applying the rub?
Oh, no, it's actually fine. Like when you're air frying, you can cook from frozen, and you could go on the internet and get directions on how long will it take fish. Most fish, if it's cut in like 6 ounces, 8 ounces, it's going to take about 10, 12 minutes in a hot oven or in an air fryer. So if it's frozen, it's just a little bit of multiple of that. If you wanted to, I'm a big fan of vacuum sealing. You can put this paste, I call it a paste, a rub, on the fish or the chicken, vacuum seal it, freeze it, And then I'm telling you, you guys, you just pop it in the air fryer frozen, it's going to be great. So whether it's fresh or frozen, no problem at all.
That's great. Thank you.
Anything else out there?
That's all I'm seeing so far. Thanks.
All right, good. All right. So we did our rub, we did our fish, we did our salsa. Now, just a little accoutrement to the fish. It's just super simple. And again, we're trying to keep the salt levels down, but we're trying to keep the flavor. So I'm using just broccoli florets here. I love broccolini, asparagus. You could go on and on and on. So again, what we're going to do is just to keep it simple. We're going to put some lemon on here. And then there's these great spices out there, you guys. If you're really, really trying to keep your sodium down, which is obviously great for heart health, right? This Bragg's brand, look at this, 24 herbs and spices in here. This is sort of a salt replacement. It's not unlike Mrs. Dash. I don't mind Mrs. Dash. I like this one better, either one. It's just great for vegetables, especially because you don't have to do anything. Look at this. It's beautiful, it's full of color, and it's full of flavor, and it's free. It smells so good, and I recommend it. When I say it's free, I mean it's free of calories. It's free of salt. I don't mean it's free. I don't even endorse this, but I love it, and I use it on everything. I'm a big fan of this brand. Everything they make, I think, is fantastic. So whether it's this or Mrs. Dash or some other kind of salt substitute don't get salt substitute, get some kind of like spicy flavor. And there's so much out there, especially on Amazon now. It's so much easier to do this stuff than it was, even 5-10 years ago. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to mix that up. You let it sit a little bit. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cook that with the salmon. That's just lemon juice and herbs. And that's all you need because, broccoli, again, superfood, right? I don't want to overuse that term, but it's filled with vitamins, right? And broccoli in the air fryer is great because you don't have to do anything. You don't have to blanch it. You don't have to do anything. You can do frozen if you want. Frozen vegetables now are actually excellent because they kind of flash freeze them at their peak of freshness. Fresh is always better, but I'm telling you, if you can't get it, the frozen stuff is actually very good for you. These will let them sit for a couple of minutes. I'll throw them in the air fryer about maybe 3-4 minutes into my salmon cooking, and they will come out absolutely perfect. I like my vegetables dry roasted. I especially, if we're doing like a broccoli or asparagus, I like them overcooked. And I don't mean mushy, I mean with a little char on them. And you'll see, hopefully by the time I get to my salmon dish, my broccoli will have just a little bit of char. It adds just, again, that little bit of flavor, sort of like a caramel kind of bitter sweetness. And I love that. All right, so I'm going to put this over here for 1 second. Now we're going to go and we're going to do a really fun salad dressing. So, a lot of times when we're talking about health, a lot of people think like, oh, if I eat a salad, it's healthy, right? If you look at some of these salads at the restaurants, guys, it's not good. They're delicious, but some of the dressings are just not good. So what you want to do is you want to make your own dressings. It's really easy. And if you don't need a fancy blender like I have, you can just have a regular old blender. You could just use a whisk, right? If you make your own dressings, you know what's in there, you know how much salt, you know how much fat, and this is what's going to keep you healthy, but you want to make sure that it's got a lot of flavor. Because if you don't have flavor, that's when you're not satiated. We want to feel satiated. And in order to do that, we have to add a lot of flavor. We're getting rid of the easy stuff, right? Fat, salt, sugar, but we're getting it sort of from the earth. And how are we going to do that? We're going to start with avocados. Now, for those of you who say, I do not like avocados, I'm out. Trust me, when you put the avocados in a salad dressing like the one I'm going to make, you will not know you're eating avocados. What you are doing is you're creating that mouthfeel that satiates you. And that's why people like those salad dressings that are not good for you, but they taste good, right? This is going to take the place of that. It's going to allow us to reduce the amount of actual oil we put in, but it's going to give us that really delicious mouthfeel, that satiation. This is one avocado, pitted. I'm going to pop that right into the blender. Now I have a little bit of water going on in this blender already because I knew I would forget to put the water in. Now, mint, again, mint leaves have so much flavor. And if you think again, I keep saying this, but people say, I don't want to put mint in my salad. But when you see all of these flavors work together, you're going to understand why you probably like it more than you think. Now, when you're using a blender, you get to just put everything in, no chopping required. I call for about 10 leaves, but it's really just sort of up to you. Now, remember, even in a salad dressing, we're talking about salty, sweet, and sour. Now, I'm going to add just about a half a teaspoon of honey. This is no special honey. It's honey bear. I mean, come on, we all grow up with the honey bear, right? Gotta have it. Then what we're going to do is we're going to add shallots. Shallots are, again, it's like an onion. It's in the garlic onion family, but man, does it have a better, kind of more interesting flavor. If you don't want to use shallots, use onions. It's no problem at all. Now, if you see tonight, I'm not cooking with a lot of garlic. I want you to feel really kind of light and full when you're done with this. If you're someone who loves garlic, garlic is one of those things for health that's free and it's good for you. If you're somebody who has a little problem with garlic, you're not going to miss it at all because the shallots, the mint, again, superfood. We're going to add some raspberries. The recipe calls for any berry because any berry is a good berry. Strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, blackberries. Get the berries that are at the peak, the berries that look the best to you at the moment, and use those. Now, when you see me putting these berries in, you're going to say, I don't know if I want berries in my salad, but you know what's going to happen? That's going to be the salty, sweet, and sour that we want to get in everything that we make. It's like the building blocks of cooking. And this is the building blocks of heart health. Now, I am doing a little bit of olive oil. I'm doing lime juice and red wine vinegar. I always like to cut the lime juice with the vinegar. I think it comes out better. If a recipe calls for lemon to make a vinaigrette, that's fine. Add a little bit of like a more neutral vinegar, like a red wine or an apple cider or a white vinegar. And to me, it just makes the dressing better. Now, the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to smooth it out with some non-fat Greek yogurt. Again, we're going for that satiation, the mouthfeel, but we're not getting any fat that we don't want. And this is what, like I said, it's constantly talking about the building blocks of heart healthiness. Look at this. That is absolutely beautiful. Wait till you see what happens when I blend it. Now, when you're making a dressing like this, the avocado and the yogurt will definitely make it thick. You can thin it out with a little bit of water. It's not going to change the flavor at all. It's so flavor. It's pounded with flavor. I mean, it's so beautiful. If you went to a restaurant and you got a dressing that looked like that on your salad, you'd be very, very happy. So we just blend this up for about half a minute. That's going to stay held together beautifully. It's gorgeous. Look how it looks even in the blender. So what I'm going to do is, to start things off, we're just going to serve the salad right away because we're cooking for 2 people tonight. But this recipe is easily doubled or tripled or whatever you would like to do. I'm just going to grab this guy. Now, again, we're just talking about colors of the earth. We're talking about delicious mouthfeel, right? Because we want to be satiated. And then we're just going to take this dressing and you want to drizzle it over. I'm doing romaine here. And I like when I serve a salad, I do like to keep the romaine intact. I think it's a prettier presentation. I think it makes you eat the salad a little slower. Use a knife and a fork. And I think that also helps with slowing people down. I think in a lot of cases, we don't have a lot of time in this world, right? A lot of times you're rushing. But if you can just take just an extra couple of minutes to sit down and eat the salad. So remember I talked about, you'll hear me say this all the time about the building blocks of flavor and texture, salty, sweet, and sour, but these are these little fried onions. Now I know you're like, no, they're not heart healthy, but if you really look at the label, these are not that bad. I just take like a teaspoon of these little crunchy onions. These are, you can get them anywhere, any supermarket. And I like to just put them on at the very end, just a couple. You just want like a teaspoon, because what that's going to do, it's just going to add the little bit of salt that we didn't use, but it's going to give us the texture, because you've got to have some texture in your food. If you don't, you don't feel satiated. So when you eat this salad, you're going to get the salty, you're going to get the berries. You're not even going to taste that avocado. Now, if you like avocados, no big deal. If you don't like avocados, you will not taste them. But those crunchy onions on that salad, it's going to bring it home. So we're going to put these over here.
That's part of another question come in. What are the red and the orange garnish on the salad? What is that?
Oh, these are just, I just bought a whole bunch of tomatoes today. And I just, truth be told, I don't know if I should say this, but acid is not my friend. So, the colorful, the less red the tomatoes are, the less acid they have. So they still have tons of flavor, but the orange and the yellow tomatoes are a little bit easier on your stomach. So I tend to buy a palette of colorful tomatoes, and I think they're easier to digest. So that's just me. But look at that beautiful palette. Again, this is the Mediterranean diet, you guys. This is tomatoes and beautiful lemons and limes, and they're pretty garnishes, and you can eat a tomato. Some things I like to call things free. Now, tomatoes do have some sugar in them. Some people have trouble with nightshade vegetables, but I mean, most people love tomatoes. I think, eating a few extra tomatoes is just free in your diet, especially your Mediterranean diet. They're delicious and taste great. And it makes it pretty, right? So you got something else, Chad, or should I move on?
We're good right now. No more questions. Thanks.
All right. Come on, you guys, ask me questions. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to prep our dessert. And remember, you don't have to make all of this stuff in one night. You could just make the salad and grill the salmon and put the salad dressing on the salmon. These are just ideas. This is just a building block for you to have heart-healthy dinners, right? Now, this dessert is kind of fun because it is extremely healthy. At least I think. Maureen, I hope you agree with me. Because I don't want to get in trouble. No, I'm just kidding.
You're doing a great job.
Maureen is our dietitian over at Chester County Hospital. So she's been keeping her eyes on me. I feel like, being watched. But anyway, so what we're going to do now is we're going to make a really fun and very easy dessert. So what I did here is ricotta cheese. I grew up with ricotta cheese. I love it. It's multi-versatile. When I was back in the day when I was on Atkins, I used to eat ricotta cheese with a little cocoa powder, and it is very low in carbohydrates, and it has a lot of flavor, and it gives you that satiation, that satiated feel. So again, low-fat ricotta cheese. We're going to add some honey. Honey is from the earth. It's not processed. It's delicious, and it has health benefits, of course. Now, I whipped these egg yolks before we started. So you don't have to go crazy with the whipping of the egg yolks, you guys. You just want to get them nice and frothy for this. If you go a little harder, oh, sorry, I forgot the lemon juice. If you go a little harder, it's just going to make it a little more like a souffle, and that's fine. So you can go just kind of beat them with a whisk until they're nice and frothy, or you can take your beater out and really go at it, get some soft peaks on there, and it'll be like a ricotta cheese and honey and lemon souffle. And guys, it's foolproof. Like you can't mess it up because it's that easy. 3 ingredients. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pop them in our ramekins. Anything that's heat proof, right? You don't have to do individual ones. You could actually make it a little bit bigger if you have something larger. that's fine. And they don't rise too much, so you can fill it up. Truth be told, you know, this will make 3. It just depends how big your ramekins are. I don't like to make people get this perfect size ramekin to make stuff because it's not that big of a deal. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of sugar and we're going to pop it right on the top, just about a teaspoon, and you're going to see why. Now, if you've ever had a creme brulee, just a little bit of this sugar on top is going to be fine because the sugar content in this entire meal is very, very low, which means we can have a little bit of sugar on our dessert. And then what we're going to do, I can't help myself, I got to do a little white, is we're going to take these, we're going to put them into the air fryer. You can do them in the oven. They only take about 8 or 10 minutes. You want a very hot oven. Broil them for 1 minute in the oven. At the last minute, in the air fryer, you just let them go. You put it on high for about 8 or 9 minutes. Give them a look, and then we're going to show you the finished in a minute. You can eat them hot, which is really cool. You know, obviously not too hot, you won't burn your tongue. But you can also eat them cold, and they're good either way. So low fat, high mouthfeel, heart healthy. That's what we're doing tonight, right? So let me put these aside because I want to get you everything wrapped up. So our fish now would be done cooking because I've been talking nonstop. So we make sure we get the fish cooked. I'm going to get my plates and we're going to get going. So Jess, if you want to come over here, I just want to show how pretty it looks in the air fryer. Like we could just serve it right in here. Now, look, take a look at my broccoli. I like it just a little bit charred on the top, and it's still got plenty of texture going. So I think that that's the way that you should do it.
That really does look great, Eric. Did you put any oil at all in the air fryer?
No, I put 0 oil. Now this air fryer is nonstick. Most of the air fryers are nonstick. You could put a little spray underneath the salmon if you're afraid it's going to stick. I put no oil on the broccoli, as you saw. It was just lemon and that Bragg's or Mrs. Dash or whatever. And then, of course, you saw what we put on the salmon. So what we're going to do to plate this up is I'm going to take a healthy portion of this broccoli. And I put some lemons in there. Again, lemons on any diet, honestly, are free. I mean, you're not going to eat the lemon, but what it does is it adds a punch of flavor, and it adds a beautiful color for when you're plating it up. And again, when you're plating things up like this, you want it to be as pretty as possible because that is also helping you satiate. If you satiate not only with your, your mouth and how things taste, you also do it with your eyes, as everybody says. We don't just eat with our mouth, we eat with our eyes. So that's the beginning part of our salmon. Now look what the yogurt did before I put on my salsa. The yogurt put a beautiful sheen on that salmon. And, when you air fry or put it in the oven, it also adds just a little bit of texture and flavor that you wouldn't get if you didn't use it. And because it's non-fat or low-fat Greek yogurt, it's not going to affect your diet at all. The only thing it is going to do is going to make you feel really good about what you just ate because it's going to taste really, really good.
Eric, we got another question that came out. How long did you cook the salmon in the air fryer?
Now, this is a 6-ounce piece of salmon. I cooked it about 11 minutes. If you like your salmon a little bit more cooked, you can cook it about 15 minutes. I like my salmon more on the, medium rare side. So I tend to cook it about 8 minutes. Now, remember, I always leave the salmon out about 15 minutes to marinate. So I put it in there just under room temperature. If you're cooking it from ice cold refrigerator, of course, you're going to cook a little longer. But if it's out and marinated like I just did, 10 to 13 minutes for a 6-ounce piece of fish, whether it's flounder, whether it's trout, whether it's tilapia, catfish, it doesn't matter. They all take about the same, which is kind of nice about fish. So it kind of demystifies fish. It just doesn't, every fish cooks about the same. Now, we don't want to skimp on this salsa because this salsa is flavor packed, full of beautiful flavors and textures. You want to make sure you get those nuts on there. And man, I'm telling you, this is going to make your heart feel good. It's going to make your stomach feel good. And when you're done eating this, because we didn't put anything in here that's going to weigh you down, the only thing that we threw in here was satiation. Salty, sweet, and sour. You get the texture of the salmon, which is full of healthy fats, which is also going to help satiate you. The broccoli is bursting with flavor. We put no oil on there. There's nothing that's going to make you feel heavy and weighted down, but you're going to feel full and you're going to feel happy. And that's the Mediterranean diet. I mean, so here's our 2 courses. Again, beautiful colors, pounded with flavor, but heart healthy. So that's what we want to do over and over again. These building blocks of this Mediterranean diet are amazing. And like I said, it's like 100 diets that were kind of floating around the universe and then just kind of all collected into one place where everybody said, wow, this has been around forever. This is the way to go. And it comes out of the earth. It's beautiful and tasty. All right. So we have our salad. We have our salmon. Now we're going to talk about that dessert that we just made.
Eric, we have another question that came in. How hard is it to clean the air fryer? Is it pretty easy?
Oh man, you guys, that's why we use it a lot, because now I'll plate this other salmon up. This goes right into the dishwasher. That's it. Nothing else is dirty. So you have one pot to clean. So this is this kind of air fryer. This air fryer is the same thing. If I cooked it in here, all I do is have these to put in the dishwasher. Most air fryers are nonstick. Of course, I endorse Power Excel air fryers. If you guys saw me on the infomercials, I've been with them since air fryers came out. So they're very easy to clean. They cook a little bit faster than the oven because it's a smaller space. I like to say we're cooking with air instead of oil. So it's healthier, it's faster, and it's easier to clean. It's like the 3 pillars of awesomeness, right? So let's get now to our dessert. Look how beautiful this looks. This is just ricotta cheese, honey, lemon, and that's it, right? I put a little bit of mint on there. We're going to finish them with these beautiful blueberries that I just got. Just take a couple. Now, to me, listen, Maureen, you'll have to answer this, but I feel like berries, you can probably go to town on them. I don't think that they're going to hurt your diet for the day if you have an extra helping of berries. If anything, it's probably better for you. But I'm not your doctor, I'm your chef. But we'll have Maureen chime in if she wants to. And then again, if you want to, just a little tiny squirt of whipped cream. If you really look at the whipped cream, it's like whipped cream is pure, right? And maybe it has a little bit of sugar in it. You can get it unsweetened, but you just go like this. That's all you need, you guys. So that's not going to hurt you. And it's going to make your dessert just seem a little happier. You don't have to use it, but that's a pretty dessert. So I think that's a beautiful eye appeal. It's going to make your heart feel good, your stomach feel full. You're going to just really feel good after you eat this. And I'm telling you, I don't think you're going to be like, oh man, I'm not happy, I'm not satiated. And I think all of the Mediterranean diet food, you're going to feel that way. And once you get used to not being like Thanksgiving full, not that listen, you got to do it every now and then, I guess, right? If you can, but you're never going to feel that horrible sense of I got to go to bed because I ate too much ever again. And it's not a diet. It's just a different way to eat. Just think of it like that. If you just say I'm not dieting, I'm just going to eat different. It's going to change your life, and it's going to make you just feel better about yourself, and it's going to make you feel better in general. I mean, just look it up. Look up the health benefits of the Mediterranean diet. So just give them a quick look at our dinner that we made one more time, and then if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And then if not, bon appetit.
This looks amazing, Eric. Thank you so much. We have a question. Do you cook the dessert directly in the bowls in the air fryer, or how did you cook those?
Yes. Now, I could literally cook these right. These are ramekins. They're heat safe. I'm putting a little dark chocolate on to finish it up. Again, dark chocolate considered very good for you, especially if it's 70% cocoa or higher. That's always a good way to finish that up. Again, just another flavor punch that you put on that dessert. So I cook them right in these ramekins. You know, if you have creme brulee, they sell these heat-proof ramekins. Truth be told, you can cook them in anything. Like if you wanted to make a little bit bigger dessert, maybe you have like a small spring form or something like that. You just don't want to make it too thin. You want to make it so at least you can hold it up. Again, they're great hot and they're great out of the fridge. And that caramelized sugar on top is just really, really delicious. So I hope you guys like that dessert, because I know if you don't, you know where to find me.
So the desserts, you said you can refrigerate afterwards. How long does the dressing last if you make that? Can you prep that a couple days in advance or a day in advance?
Oh, this dressing will last for about a week in the fridge. Just keep it in a container that's, you know, not too big for it. And I'm telling you, there's really nothing in there that's, you know, I mean, it'll go bad eventually, but a week easily. And I like putting it on fish. I'll put that dressing on the salmon. I'll put that dressing on a piece of chicken. That is a very, all of that stuff is very versatile. The rubs, it'll work on anything. And, you know, like even pork tenderloin, you know, it's fat-free. They sometimes call pork the other, what do they call it? The other white meat, I guess. So, you know, you don't have to just eat fish and chicken. You know, some of these pork cuts, and you'll have to check it out, but they almost are fat-free. So that dressing would be amazing on pork tenderloin. So.
And about how long does the salsa last if you put that in the fridge? A couple days?
Yeah, I say about 3 days, because after that, you know, the acid is going to start to break down the onions, and it'll get a little potent, but it could last longer than that. But I would say 3 days, and it's still going to have that nice fresh feel.
Great. We're getting a lot of great comments. These dishes look amazing, yummy. This looks fantastic. I can't wait to get the recipe. Looks delicious. I wish we were doing this in person. I think we're all going to end up very, very hungry by the end of this. Someone else said, fantastic presentation, learned a lot. Thank you for taking time from your busy schedule to share your expertise. We really do appreciate it.
Oh God, no, this is my pleasure, you guys. Like I said, I get to cook for you guys, talk about the Mediterranean diet and heart health, and I also get to eat it. Just a quick note, if your doctor says it's okay, you know, red wine, a little bit of red wine socially while you're eating is not that bad. It's actually can be good for you. Again, check with your doctor, but it is, again, part of the Mediterranean diet. If you like a little red wine, that's what I like about this diet, because I do, and I won't be having a little red wine with my flavor-packed, heart-healthy dinner and dessert tonight.
Maureen just put berries are a great source of fiber, so it sounds like you're on the right path with doing a lot on the berries. You said a cup is approximately 60 calories, so that's quite a bit of berry for the calorie. Someone ever asked if you use your stove or oven behind you? It looks immaculately clean.
Oh my God, you guys! I use that I literally cook almost every day, and you know when I'm doing writing a cookbook or you know doing a Facebook Live or something, this place is trashed. So don't think this is like a kitchen that doesn't get used. It is. I trash this kitchen and I use the heck out of it. And I have hundreds of air fryers, you know, over the years, and pressure cookers. Of course, I use those too. But this stove, yeah, I'm always afraid like I'm going to wear it out, but it's still here because I love it.
And Maureen said you did a really great job promoting health and good eating. So congratulations, you get the seal of approval from our dietitian, Maureen Bacella.
Yes. Thank you, Maureen. That means more to me than anything.
No, you did a fantastic job, and what they don't know is behind the scenes, you were unbelievable to work with. So thank you. This has been you're a joy.
You made it easy.
A great program.
I had a great time, and a shout out to my friend Kristen Taylor. She is a heart health person, as you guys know. She's an amazing nurse, and she's been doing this for a long time. She asked me to do this, and I couldn't have been happier to work with you guys at Chester County Hospital. And listen, hopefully maybe we'll do it again.
So thanks again, everyone, for joining us. Again, my name's Chad Thomas. I'm the Community Health Education Coordinator with Chester County Hospital Community Health and Wellness Department. You can find us online at chestercountyhospital.org/wellness, where you can find a variety of different presentations, cooking demos, and other heart healthy opportunities, such as the one Eric just presented. Eric, could you spell out your social media addresses for us again, please?
Yeah, I'd love to. It's Eric Theiss TV, ERICTHEISS TV. That's for Facebook. Instagram, just Eric Theiss. YouTube, Eric Theiss. My website, www.erictheiss.com. So wherever you find me, I hope you'll send me a message, and I love to talk.
Fantastic. I can attest that Eric's Facebook Live recordings are amazing. His wife Jessica does a great job there with the camera. So thank you, Jessica, for videotaping this for us this evening. And we'll definitely be in touch. I look forward to future opportunities to work with you, Eric.
I had a great time, you guys. Thanks a lot for asking me, and hopefully I'll see you again.